to origami and beyond. How an ancient art is helping create new technology. For many people, the image of a crane that's made of folded paper makes them think of Japan. It's a common example of origami, the Japanese art of paper folding. While it has been around for over 1,000 years, it became more popular during the Edo period, 1603 to 1867. At this time, paper became less expensive. Over the centuries, origami has been used in religion and for teaching purposes. People leave origami at Japanese shrines, for example. What's more, in traditional Shinto weddings, origami butterflies are used to represent the happy couple. In schools, origami can be used to teach shapes and problem solving. Akira Yoshizawa is known for his origami excellence. His work is credited with making origami popular outside Japan from the 1950s. He wrote many books on the art. What's more, he created the wet folding technique, in which damp paper is used to make origami look more realistic and alive. Thanks to Yoshizawa, origami continues to flourish all over the world.
Hi everybody, welcome to English for You. I'm Pat.
And I'm Elsie.
And today we're going to learn about origami, but not just the ancient art. We'll also see how the simple idea of folding paper is helping us with some super modern technologies. First, we're going to read through part 1 of our article, which tells us about origami's past before later we get into its present. So the article starts and says, for many people, the image of a crane that's made of folded paper makes them think of Japan. Of course, it's a Japanese art. You see a little folded paper bird, you're like, yeah, that's a Japanese kind of thing. And a crane, this is a kind of bird. They're large, they have long necks, they have long legs, and they can fly, but they tend to do a lot of walking about in shallow water. So you might say, for example, the crane walked through the stream and hunted for fish.
Crane 指的就是鹤啦，所以呢，我们看到纸鹤的时候，都会想到 Japan 日本。
And of course, the whole idea of origami is that you take a big piece of paper and you fold it to make a particular shape. The word fold means to bend a piece of paper or cloth and press one part of it over another part. So my collar of my shirt is folded, so it makes a collar rather than just standing up or not having a collar at all. And here's something that bothers me a lot. I hate it when people fold the corners of pages of books to mark their place.
Oh no.
How do you treat
I do that.
You what? How can you treat books like that? Use a bookmark.
Okay, but you have to take the bookmark and, put the bookmark in the book.
Yeah, but folding over the pages...
Just takes half a second.
A
Done.
perfect book is been...
Folded 的动作就是折叠或是对折。那在文章当中呢，我们看到的 folded， 好，这字尾加上 ed， 它是一个过去分词作为形容词的用法。那如果你要把这个折的地方打开，那就是 unfold， 也就是在字首加上 un 就可以了。
You're a monster.
I'm a monster.
How could you do
Because
that?
I fold pages.
Of books. That's just no. Anyway, let's move on. That sentence also includes today's language in focus, so let's check that out now.
今天的 Language in Focus 我们要讲到的是现在分词跟过去分词当形容词的用法哦。那现在分词呢跟过去分词，它们都可以置于名词的前面作为形容词，加以修饰这个名词，但是两者的意义不太一样。我们来举例一下。第一个，如果你用的是现在分词，也就是 VING 来去形容名词的话，那表示是主动作正在进行，像是 running water， 那就是正在流动的水。 burning wood， 那就是正在燃烧的木柴。falling leaves， 正在掉落的叶子。singing birds， 那就是正在唱歌的鸟儿。那如果你用的是过去分词，也就是 VPP 来形容的话，那就表示呢动作是已经完成的，而且呢或是它有被动的意思在。所以这样课文里面的 folded paper， 那就是被折过的纸。那如果是 spilled water， 那就是被洒出来的水。fallen leaves， 那就是已掉落的叶子。
Now, that sentence that started our article didn't just have vocabulary words and grammar, it also had a phrase. We're saying this folded crane, this folded paper crane, makes people think of Japan. The phrase think of means to think about a particular subject, but often automatically. It's just like you see it and your brain just jumps there. You're not really having to, what does that make me think of? For example, this song makes me think of my old girlfriend. Whenever I hear it, I just automatically think of her. The article goes on, so this crane, it's a common example of origami, the Japanese art of paper folding. The article goes on, while origami, has been around for over 1,000 years, it became more popular during the Edo period, which is 1603 to 1867.
Edo period 就是中文说的江户时代或是德川时代。
Yeah, it's a particular period of Japanese history. I think Japan became one country, not a group of states fighting each other, but it was kind of closed off to the world. A lot of peace, a lot of development of technology and culture.
Yeah, but why did paper folding become more popular?
Well, the article explains, at this time, paper became less expensive.
That's why.
Yeah, so because it's peacetime, because the country's getting richer, people can create paper more cheaply, and so more people can do this art. The article carries on and says, over the centuries, origami has been used in religion and for teaching purposes. Religion, of course, is the belief in a god or gods or just other supernatural beings, and it's the worship of those, doing things to ask them for help, make them happy, and so on. You might say people who follow some religions do not eat certain meats, while those who follow other religions don't eat meat at all.
Religion 指的就是宗教，那如果是形容词，我们要形容说是人很虔诚或是与宗教相关的，那我们会用 religious 这个形容词。
You could also talk about the general idea and say religion is very important in someone's life, or religion is a cause for this big terrible war. Now that sentence also said religion is one use for origami, and teaching purposes is another. Let's take a moment to explore the use of the word purpose. The word purpose means roughly the same as the word reason. Something's purpose is its aim or goal or objective. It's what a particular object or plan or idea is trying to achieve. For example, the purpose of this class is to learn the history of ancient Rome. So, for teaching purposes means origami is used to teach people, to help them learn stuff.
Purpose 这个名词呢，就是目的、意图或是用途。所以呢，当我们说 the purpose of doing something， 那就是做某事的目的、意图是什么？那像是我们可以说 What is the purpose of your visit？ 你过来拜访我，你的目的是什么？
Yeah, like, why are you here? But it's a bit more formal. That's the sort of thing someone would say at the airport, right?
对，没错。
What's the purpose of your visit? Is it business? Are you traveling for fun? Are you here to attend an academic conference?
对，那个海关会问你的问题。
Exactly. So let's look at those. So we've got religion and teaching, and now we've got some examples, which are people leave origami at Japanese shrines, for example.
Shrine 这个名词呢，就是圣坛、神殿或是神社。
Yeah, so they just make a little origami structure and just leave it there as kind of a gift to sort
Or
of say...
hang them up.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of them hanging up. Here's another example. The article says, what's more, in traditional Shinto weddings, origami butterflies are used to represent the happy couple.
所以在神前结婚的仪式当中呢，纸折的蝴蝶也被用来代表这个幸福的新婚夫妇。所以有 cranes, 有 butterflies.
Yeah, all sorts. Shinto is the traditional religion in Japan. So that's the religious side. Now let's look at teaching purposes. The article says, in schools, origami can be used to teach shapes and problem solving. So it can teach problem solving. You can learn, okay, just basic, how do I make a cube, a 3D shape, not necessarily a flat one. And then also, okay, you can only fold this paper 3 times or 10 times, but you've got to make this. So the kids learn how to think their way and go, oh, if I do this and this and this, I'll get the right shape. So it teaches them how to think about how to solve problems, not just follow instructions. So the article goes on, it's talked about where origami comes from, what it can be used for. Now we're going to introduce one of the masters. The article says, Akira Yoshizawa is known for his origami excellence. The word excellence is the noun form of excellent. And if you have excellence in something, you have a high level of skill in a particular area. Or we could say it's got a high level of overall quality. For example, the hotel shows its excellence everywhere, from its amazing food to the large, comfortable rooms and polite staff.
Excellence 这个名词指的就是优秀或是卓越，那字尾 ce 拿掉，加上一个 t， 就是你很熟悉的这个形容词 excellent。
So let's go back to Yoshizawa. The article says, his work, so his origami, is credited with making origami popular outside Japan from the 1950s. From the 1950s just means starting then and going on. And his work is credited with helping origami become popular worldwide. If something is credited with something, and often we use it about a person is credited with doing something, this phrase is used to say who gets or who should get the credit for a particular achievement. Like, why has this happened? This is credited with doing this. This is the person or event that changed things and is responsible for the situation now.
对，所以在这个用法当中呢，主词多半是人，然后后面加上这个被动 be credited，然后再接上 with something， 那就是这个人呢被认为是对点点点有功劳、有贡献的。
So Yoshizawa was really good at origami, and we also see he wrote many books on the art, and that's the books that go out to other countries, people buy them. But that's not all. The article says, what's more, he created the wet folding technique, in which damp paper is used to make origami look more realistic and alive. So he kind of came up with this idea, I can change origami by using slightly wet paper. This is a special technique, so let's take a moment to look at the word technique. A technique is a particular way of doing something, usually a practical thing that requires a skill, it requires practice until you get it right. It's not really a mind thing, it's more of an actual skill doing thing. For example, the artist has learned a new technique for making colors look brighter. Maybe the way they mix the paints or the way they paint them on the canvas, something they do to achieve a result.
Technique 这个名词呢，指的是方法，指的是手段。那做某事的方法或手段，我们可以说 the technique for or of something。好，两个介系词都可以，看你要用 for 还是 of。那再来还有一个形容词在课文里面出现是 damp， 它指的是潮湿的。那再来还有一个是 realistic， 那就是逼真的。
Damp would be very slightly wet. So think of clothes, you've been hanging them up for an hour or two. They're not fully dry, they're still a little wet to the touch. That's damp. You still want to hang them up and not put them away. So the article carries on and says, thanks to Yoshizawa, origami continues to flourish all over the world. And that phrase, thanks to, is similar to is credited with. It's used to show who is responsible for something. It's usually done in a positive way, like thanks to you, we finished everything on time. but it could also be a negative way. Well, thanks to you, we're meeting's going to start late. It's your fault.
对，所以用肯定或是这个比较负面的方式去说，都可以用到 thanks to。那再来还有一个动词是 flourish，它代表是兴盛。
Yeah, it's kind of grown, it's popular. You'll see origami now all over the world. Many people learning it in classes or doing it in school or just for fun. Now that wraps up today's article. That's brought origami from the past up to the present day. We're going to go and talk more about the future of origami tomorrow, but right now, let's look at our For You chat question, which is, have you ever tried making origami? If so, talk about your experience. If not, what would you like to make?
I think I did try making one when I was in the elementary school.
Oh, that young. Okay.
Maybe in one of the art classes or something. Right, but I don't think I succeeded.
It's not something I'm good at.
It's difficult.
Well, even the most basic idea, like making a paper airplane, that is origami.
Okay,
right? It's
yeah.
not complicated origami.
But that's already challenging to me.
I can't. I'm terrible at making paper airplanes. I just can't see the relationship between like space and folding. It's one of those like brain gaps that I have that I can't figure that stuff out. If I had instructions, I could follow them and do it. But if it's like figure it out yourself, I'd be sitting there for hours going, So I probably wouldn't do it again unless I was doing it with somebody else and they wanted to do it for fun.
If you could do it now, what would you like to make?
What would I make out of origami now?
I would like to make one with my cat's maybe head shape or his, I don't know, his body shape.
I'd probably make like cool little animals that I can put around the house to entertain the kids. Just like, what? But now there's a dog here. To next day now there's a swan. Something like that, just to kind of keep them entertained. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Join us again tomorrow for the use of origami ideas in technology. See you then. Bye for now.
Bye.
Vocabulary Review.
Crane. We watched a couple of cranes stretch their long necks while they were looking for food in the water. Fold. Harvey folded the newspaper so that it would fit into his backpack. Religion. Religion and science can sometimes be in conflict about certain topics, such as the beginning of the universe. Purpose. The purpose of this event is to raise money and provide food for the homeless. Excellence. Marcy always shows excellence in her work, and the boss is thinking about giving her a raise. Technique. Linda learned a new technique for solving this kind of math problem in class today.
智慧小补帖
Shrine. Damp. Realistic. Flourish. Flourish.